What's up YouTube? Today we're going to build up the Kink Gap Free Coaster and the Gap XL. I'm going to show you a couple other bikes from the 2020 lineup. Check it out. So this is the 2020 Kink Gap XL. I'm going to put this bike together for you guys and we'll take a closer look at it. This is how they come out the box. So as you can see, there's still a little work to be done. So the Gap XL is a cool bike because it's got a longer top tube. It's got the 21-inch top tube. It's got nice tall handlebars, so it's really got the modern geometry that a lot of riders are looking for in aftermarket frames and parts right now. Pretty cool that it comes with the 2.4 Sever tires by Kink. They're nice and wide. They grip really good on all surfaces. Wow. So it's got a, maybe a little hard to see in the video, but it's got a flat maroon color on the frame, which is actually really nice. Looks really good in person. Kind of contrasts well with this the white tires on it, and matching the white stickers. This is a really clean bike out the box. It's got a cool colorway going on. So one thing that Kink's doing right now really well with their complete bikes is they're offering a lot of parts by Nissin on their complete bikes, such as the headset, the seat post clamp, the brakes, the cranks, and that really allows them to put out a great product for a good price point. I think it's an awesome bike for somebody who's really just getting into riding several times a week or just starting to take BMX a little more serious, because this is a bike that is built up to handle a little bit of abuse, and you'll be able to switch out and upgrade parts as you go throughout your BMX career. We all know that when you're really riding BMX bikes and putting them through everything that comes with the sport, like eventually things will wear out, need to be replaced and all. But this bike kind of is a good foundation and starting point to get any young rider, stoked on BMX and get them going for the first few years. And for the parents out there, some parents have asked questions like, why does this bike cost so much? Or, $300, that's a lot of money to spend on a bike. And I explain it like this. You could get a Walmart bike. There's bikes out there that you could buy online for $100, $200. But here's the thing. Those bikes are so cheaply made that eventually you're going to be replacing part after part, and it's just going to become a nightmare. Spending a little bit more up front is a great investment, because that's going to basically put your kid on a bike that's actually meant to hold up for the abuse that he's going to put it through. This bike can go to the skate park, it can jump down a stair set, it can jump off of a loading dock, all these things that the kids are going to ultimately be doing when they get seriously into BMX. It's built to withstand a little bit of that. So you have chromoly tubing in the frame, fork, and handlebars, and that is going to be a beefy, strong material while still making the bike lightweight. So that's kind of a little bit of a explanation of why you're looking at this price point to get you into BMX. So it's got a really cool white swirl grip right here. It matches the white tires nicely, and as I'm opening up this bike more and more and looking at the colorway, it's just a really cool setup. So shout out to Kink for changing things up and making their new lineup look really good. And one rookie mistake is just tightening up the bolts and thinking this is a washer. This is a retaining clip, and there's a little hole in the fork dropout for you to kind of line it up, and this helps keep the wheel not only centered in the wheel, but keeps it from moving side to side when you're jumping around on your bike, going to the skate park or whatever. So we got those in the hole lined up. We're gonna come back with a 17mm wrench and tighten that up real good. Just kind of getting everything together right now. Nice. That's a really solid Kink Stealth seat and seat post. Give you a little closer look at the Kink seat. It's kind of got their little logo stitched into there, so that's a nice little feature. And drop that down in the seat post clamp, and we're going to need to tighten this up with an Allen wrench, so I'm going to do that, get it nice and snug so we can actually sit on the bike. So give you a closer look at the handlebars. These have a 9 1/4 rise. So that's a nice tall set of handlebars. These are called the Buffalo bars from Kink. Pretty sweet. And it can be a little awkward to get the handlebars started. Once you get one bolt in there, it'll kind of hold the plate in place. And you never want to tighten one side down fully at a time. You want to kind of do it in like an X pattern when you tighten all the bolts for your stem and your handlebars. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, like a pattern like that. Kind of cross them up, and that way you make sure you're pulling on the handlebars and the stem evenly, and you're not clamping down one side too tight, and that'll cause your handlebars to sit like offset in your stem and put more wear on one spot than another. So that's no good. Once you get them all in there, you're gonna get your Allen wrench and start to snug them up. You kind of feel when it gives you a little resistance when you get into the bottom. You don't have to put a crazy amount of force on it, but you do want to make sure that you got a good hold on your bolts, and you don't want your bars to be moving around on you when you start riding the bike. So get that nice and snug. Another nice feature I like about this bike is that it does come with the top load stem. So they already gave you 9 1/4 inch tall handlebars. Giving you a top load stem is another way to get you a little bit more rise, and that's kind of more and more of a popular trend that you're seeing in BMX right now. Makes the front end of the bike come up really easily. I'm going to go ahead and run this brake cable along the top tube over here to the lever. And while these are loose, you'll be able to have the slack you need to put it in the cable. So there's a ball right here, and you want this ball to go inside the lever. You're going to pull it. You got to line up this piece right here, the barrel adjuster. I'm sorry, not the barrel adjuster, but there's a nut right here that has a cutout just big enough to get your brake cable to feed through. So you line that up with the lever, feeds in like that, and then you want to turn this ring to kind of just hold it from coming out on you again. And now my brake lever has the cable like it's supposed to. We're going to pull this tension back. This is the barrel adjuster here, and you may need to adjust this to get where these balls will go into the brake arms. So right now it's pretty loose, and I can kind of just get it like that. So we're just going to pop them right in there, and now basically our brakes are working, but they need a little more tension. We're going to tighten that up with the barrel adjuster and this piece right here. So this lock nut on the barrel adjuster can be threaded downward, and when that's against that tab, that'll keep everything nice and like taut. And as I expected, it feels a little bit better when I pull. It's much tighter with the brakes right there. So that feels about right. You don't want it to be like smashing your hand when you pull the brake lever. So right there, it's stopping, it's pulling well. So that's about where I'd want my brakes. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put the pedals on. We pretty much gotta get this wrapping off of the back tire, tighten our front wheel good, and double check that everything's looking smooth, but this bike's going together nicely. Okay, very important piece right here. There is a left and a right pedal. Two ways you can look at it. One, it's literally etched right here, R and L. A lot of companies mark that way for a reason, so you don't get it confused. The pedals have a little bit of like, I want to call it like concave from like the skateboarding world, but they have a little bit of a angle to them when you put them in the cranks, and then the left pedal is reverse threaded, so it will actually turn to the left in your left crank to tighten. Your right pedal is like anything else you thread on, righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? So we're gonna put a little grease on these guys. They're gonna go right in here in the crank arms, and your pedals will be fastened on your bike. Okay, so I like to put on the left pedal first because that's kind of weird that it's reverse threaded, so I knocked that one out and know that my other one's gonna be a normal one. So left pedal, we're going on the left crank arm. You want to get it started by hand, and you need to use a pedal wrench to do the final tightening before you're actually riding, because you don't want your pedals to be getting loose on you or wanting to fall off. So I'm going to get a pedal wrench right now and get a little more torque on that. Alright, so here is our handy dandy Park Tools pedal wrench. They make a couple different brands of these, but I find that the Park Tools one works excellent. We're going to go ahead and put this on here like that, and it'll fit smoothly on, the correct side. BMX pedals are usually gonna fit this like 15mm notch on the pedal wrench really well. So I'm going counterclockwise again on the left pedal, getting it nice and tight. You want to get a good bit of torque on that so your pedals don't come loose. Now we're going to do the right pedal. So again, we're going with a little dab of grease on the pedal, lining up with our crank arm, start it by hand, and it'll thread on real smoothly when you get them straight. It shouldn't take a lot of force to get it started. They should feel nice and smooth threading in there, and then you want to get it finally tightened with the pedal wrench one more time. So we got our pedals on. Gotta tighten that front wheel up with a 17. And the process is a little bit different if you're putting pegs on your bike, but this one doesn't have pegs out the box, so it's nice and easy. Just make sure you got the right attachment for your bolts. Everything on BMX these days, for the most part, is metric, so 17mm extension works great for that. Okay, so now I'm just double checking everything basically. I'm going to go ahead and remove this film that protects the tires. And I'm going to kind of just give it a one over and just make sure everything's nice and tight. So we're going to sit on the bike. I know that my brake's working good. It's locking up good. It's pulling well. It's not skipping, not rubbing. That back hub sounds great. Do need to air up these tires. So obviously you want to run the recommended PSI. Most tires are suggested to run 35 to 60 PSI. I like to run mine about 55 PSI on average. And I mean, every bike and every tire is a little bit different. You always want to pay attention to the max PSI because that is a good way to blow a tube, scare everyone in the shop or your house. Like right here, it's on the sidewall, 60 PSI, so you never want to push that. You don't want to blow up a tube, mess up the sidewall and your tire potentially. So I'm going to go ahead and air up the front. And I know some of you older guys don't run reflectors anyway, but here at the bike shop, I like to keep things safe as possible, especially if it's going to a younger rider. So these pedal reflectors are really nice. They just snap right in. Super easy. There's two holes drilled out on the pedal that these two tabs fit into. So we're going to go ahead and pop these in. Boom. So now we got pedals with reflectors. So the cars can see when you're riding in the street at night or whatever. Got a good chain tension, brakes pulling good, our cranks are nice and tight. We've pretty much checked everything, and here's a look at the bike all together. They do come with a little strap right here to keep this brake cable from hanging all around and being loose. I'm going to put that on right now. And this is super easy. It's just literally a Velcro strap. You want to wrap your brake cable with that, go around your top tube, get that nice Kink logo on top, get it good and tight so it stays in place. And that is your Kink Gap XL 2020. Great looking bike. Good top tube, good geometry for a taller rider or somebody that wants kind of a modern feel, street riding bike. Good bike for riding park too, honestly. If you have any questions about it, drop them in the comments. Be more than happy to help you guys. And yeah, shout out to Kink BMX for making some great bikes for, a good price.